All right. I haven't rehearsed anything for this video or whatever, so it's going to be very stream of thought, just so you guys are aware. Not that that ever's really been an issue, but so I did a practice session earlier. Rented a server. Plow was there. Pata, and then a few others popped in. Went over some. Gave Plow some live pointers on how to drive the track. I'm not sure if this would be better to do in a cockpit view or in the far chase, so you can kind of see like where my car is exactly. Like I think the far chase will give like a better um will give a better view of what I'm actually doing. So I think we'll do that. Um I think what I'll do is I'll do the out exterior view, and then I'll run a lap on the recording at the end, so you guys can see like the in cockpit raw data. Just a few things that I want to go over before we do start this lap. I was talking to Plow earlier about the FOV. Um, FOV in iRacing is absolute clutch for making sure that you're able to judge your corners properly. And then the next thing after that would be making sure that your brakes are adjusted properly. And that it comes down more to personal preference. There are some things that I'll highlight specifically. But first, let's just jump into the monitor measurements. Left my my tape measure. So you want to make sure that this is set up appropriately. They have different methods, curve screen, flat screens. People say that you can run curve screens in the flat setting. I don't think that really matters for anybody here. Fish, I believe, if you're watching this video, you run in VR, so I can't give you any insight there. I'm assuming it's probably you've watched guides. It might be worth like doing a little research and making sure it's all set up good. Anywho, monitor width. When you measure monitor width, it is not asking for the diagonal. Just so you know, it is asking for the horizontal width. So make sure that you're measuring your monitor from side to side, if you will, not the diagonals. You want the exact, left and right. Bezel width, I believe is set up. I don't think anybody's running triples, so it doesn't matter, but it does calculate it so it's the full size of the bezel. It's not half the bezel. So whatever you see when you're looking at your triples, it's going to be the full size of that black bar you measure. Radius of curvature. Generally speaking, you're probably going to set this to whatever your monitor is. I have 1000 Rs, but I run them at 850 because it brings the car in a little tighter and it feels a little better. It is a little bit of preference. And then your viewing distance and field of view. I had it at 190 because I was doing it for Plow. Viewing distance, basically going to take a tape measure and you're going to put it like right at your eyeball, or I like to point it at just gently touch the screen. Don't scratch anything. And then I will literally pull it all the way back to my eyeball and like I'll lock it, and then I'll just take the measurement there. I roughly sit about 29 to 30 inches away. If you have all these values set up to what you measured, and then you can click compute and it'll set your FOV. If you're using 3 flat screens instead of radius of curvature, it's going to ask the angle, and that if you have like a little angle measuring tool, you can do that. There's a whole lot of math that goes into that too, but I'm not going to get into it. The most important part is just measure what you got. Nobody runs triples anyways. Since you do run the flat, I know Pata runs a 49. You're going to do one curve screen. And then just put your your monitor width. You're not going to have a bezel width, or you will have a radius of curvature on that, and just kind of match to whatever your. I think the Odyssey is a 1200 in the 49-inch, and then the viewing distance, of course. And then we were talking about brakes. if you're running load cell pedals, make sure that this is ticked, because if you untick it, it has a force factor. Essentially, load cell just gets rid of the force factor at all. If your force factor is up, you want to make sure that it's set down to 0, or just hit that and it gets rid of it completely. Wheel map range doesn't really matter. I run 900, which is what my software settings are set to. I think it has a built-in soft lock. I think these cars run like a 540 DOR or something. Force feedback, linear mode, all this stuff. You really don't want any smoothing, dampening. You can adjust your driver heights and stuff. There's keybinds as well. And then neck motion, basically, like if you set this to 0, it'll make your car not bounce at all. So it almost looks unnaturalistic. But then if you put it at 100, I like to put mine at 63. I feel like it's a nice little center ground. It dampens the bumps when the car is moving. So like, but it's not too extreme. That's what I've been rolling. Shift horizon's a little different. That's more in like the car settings as far as field of view and stuff. So essentially, if you hit Control F12, you can see that on the inside here. I can pull it over. I'll put it like right yaw, I guess. This basically, if you adjust this, you can make your car seat closer without actually affecting your field of view. Because if you notice that as I move up closer, the what you see on the track here isn't changing perspective. You're just making it so that you're closer to the car. I forget what mine said at. I think it was whatever, but I have my car saved. So when you and then there's some stuff with Vanish X and Vanish Y. It kind of like pitches your car up and down without actually affecting much. I do have the Y off a little bit because oh, that's the P value. No, P value is that. What am I trying to do? Orient Y. No, not Y. Z. That's what I want. So if you do that, I think the Vanish Y kind of affects how you look. You want to play around with that a little bit. There is a Moradness video that explains a lot this in great detail if that's something you want to do. But basically what this is doing is just making sure that your car, you're able to see things, and it's a more direct one-to-one representation. So if your field of view is correct and you got like a good view, you could see the road. If you put the car up a little higher and angle it, pitch it downwards for the view. So like almost like you're kind of like sitting up and then bringing your head down. That gets you a little bit more of angle where you can see down into the corners of the car. And all this does is it's just going to make it sure that it's as much of a one-to-one representation of what you're doing and what you're seeing, because it's really important with a track like this where, you know, you're going very fast and not hitting corners appropriately is going to cost you. I touched on the brakes. Load cells, make sure that's checked. If you don't have that checked, you're not going to get a one-to-one representation. It's going to put the pedals on a logarithmic. So as you push harder with the load cell brake, it's gonna make the graph go like that instead of being like a nice straight line. As far as that, the only other very important thing, especially for Fish, if he's coming from like the lower ranked, you need to make sure on your controls you have a pit speed limiter set button assignment on your wheel, because this is not going to hold your hands when you pit. You have to make sure that you're slowed down fast enough before you go into the pits, and then make sure the pit limiter is on so that you're below speed, and the limiter will make sure that you don't go too fast in the pits. And when you're coming out of the pits, I'm going to caution you, make sure you'll see the little box that says pit active. You wait until that disappears before you hit the pit limiter exiting the pits. That's going to save a lot of grief. So that's a little preface on that. Now we'll just get into doing the actual lap. I got to turn this down just a hair because I'm talking and trying to listen. So I just finished a lap. It was the 8:57. I think it was an out lap anyway, so, or whatever the heck it was. I can't tell you. First corner coming up. Right before the 100 board, I'm braking. But if you watch my plane of travel, I'm kind of like brushing up against this here. Actually, and this could be more out this way. I don't even get it that perfect. But get down pretty low. And you're going to chop off this apex here. You kind of want to, the general gist approaching into this corner is you want to get the car outside, start slowing it down here, and then you can start turning in pretty aggressively to the point where, like, you see this little, it's a little hill. You can get pretty friendly with this, and it's really not going to punish you. I will caution, because you are going to go down to first gear for this corner. If you cut it too much, I came in at a pretty shallow angle for this, so it wasn't too bad. If you get more aggressive and you come out wider on entry, it's going to make it so that your car is more pointed this way. And you will hit that, you will clip over that little bump, and it will push the tires out, and then it'll just make the car spin to the right. So I come out a little wide, but you already see that. Like, I'm around the corner, just barely getting the car aligned with this set of segment, and I'm already back over to the left. And that was fairly good. And I'm throwing the wheel. Like, it's pretty much like I'm turning. Okay, it's straight. Bam. I'm already trying to go back because I want to hit. You can't even really see them. Those barrels here. You can see, like, you can see how close I get to them when I... Oh, I backed up way too far. I wasn't paying attention. You can see on my other monitor here, like, that's not a lot of room there. The barrels. And then just caution coming out. You will spin out on this section. If you should be in first gear, you're gonna spin like crazy. So just go a little easy on the throttle. GP track, I mean, it's a GP track. I'm looking for these cones. I will say one thing that will catch you out. There's bricks here, but there's sand, so it's like it kind of tricks you. You're basically trying to get your outside tire like right on this line as best you can. I give it like a little brake, downshift in the third. With this corner here, you don't necessarily need to get this amazing because you're going right into another hairpin. And this kind of has a little bit of a flow. Now, in a normal track, you're thinking, okay, I'm going through, and you're going to come out way wide, but you got to stay to the shade more to the left side of the track so that you can set up for the next corner. If you do come out wide, it's not the end of the world. You want to get your car back up against this segment of curb. And I'm usually, it's right here. Where's my braking point? I'm like way down a second, and then you're going to really cut the wheel back to the right hard on this one. Like, I am holding, and you can see I'm getting my back on my brakes kind of as I get to the end of the apex here. You can use a lot of this green. I don't even take this good because if I did this corner right, I probably would have slowed down more. And I was actually, the reason I'm not coming out to the left so much is because I'm so late on the gas. Like, I probably could have went a little earlier. So you can use this green segment like all the way up to the end. If you get the corner right, you should be like touching the green like right about here. If you're really throwing some speed into it. Or rather, I should preface it and say that if you are going fast, it's not the end of the world if you do come out on the green segment. Just make sure that you're back here because you will get a track cut if you're not back on the track enough. Okay, Dunlop is an extremely difficult corner if you don't know it. For me, braking here like a little bit early, somewhere about halfway into this concrete stretch, if you're really good, you can see this little patch where the bricks change. You can sometimes brake even as late as that. Like, I start braking up here, but like I'm really not hard on the brakes until I get about here. And you're gonna go way down, and like you hear me blip the throttle a little bit. Like, even that was like a little too early. The whole trick with this corner is you just want to, like, slowing down here because it has the off camber and it's downhill, so it's gonna naturally throw you in towards the stadium if you're going in too hot. So you just want to make sure you're slowing the car down fast enough, quick enough that you can get in and try to get in tight to the apex if you can. I do it a little bit, and then your brain is going to tell you on this corner, like, get on the gas, get on the gas, get on the gas, get on the gas. But that's simply not the point, because simply not the line, because you're going to what's going to happen is you get on the gas too early, you're gonna be coming like way out towards the dirt. Ideally, you are trying to brush up against the dirt, but don't worry about it. Just keep the car on track. But the important part of keeping the car on track is not getting on the gas too early. This is something I didn't really correct when you were doing it, Plow, because honestly, it's not the end of the world. You can lose a lot of speed if you're taking your line, because your tires are like here. I get up on this curb. A lot of people say like maybe not, but I kind of get on the curb, a little throttle lift. I'm in fourth all the way through this. And then if you notice, like I'm taking inside curb. You can see my throttle. It's not like too crazy. Lift, let it get on the curb, and then I'm back on it. And you can cut this green section here. Like you can see my wheel inputs. If you get it right, you can get the car to slide through here. If you're a little too aggressive, you can get a 1X. And then just holding it. Like you got a little bit of outside curb too that you can work with if you come in a little too hot. This corner on the GP track, like I'm braking before the 100 board. That's my biggest toxic trait as a driver is I don't get on the brakes as quick as I can, and I kind of linger with the gas, you can see. And that is something that, you know, what good driving is going to be, because ideally I should be all the way off the throttle just on the brake, because that's just going to extend your it's just going to extend your stopping distance. So anyways, having said that, 100 board, I'm braking pretty, 60%. Downshifting. Generally speaking, like you can get by in third. Depending on your speed, you might feel a little more comfortable going in the second. If you go in the second, just go easy coming out of the corner. But you want to try to get up against this apex. Nice and tight. And otherwise, you're gonna naturally extend way out here. If you do, just slow the car down if you have to. It's gonna make you slow through that corner. You know, it is what it is. Same thing here. You're coming out to the white section. I'm not braking. I'm kind of coasting. I like barely touched the brake there, if you see. This is another third gear corner. This is another one. You just got to be patient. Similar to Dunlop a few turns earlier, that horseshoe. Your brain's going to tell you, it's time to go. Let's go. But just be patient with that corner. You don't need the brake going into it, but you do need to downshift the third and just kind of let the car work its way around the corner. And then when you start getting a more straighter, then you can really hammer on it. Okay, so coming up to the S turn here. Braking like 70. I'm usually braking about 75-ish, if you can see. Oh, I'm going too fast. Yeah, maybe like 80, 85. Coming way out here, out to the white line. This right here, this cone at the end, it sticks out. Depending on the time of day. This last cone on the apex of the turn is going to be a darker shade of red than the other cones. Yeah, that's basically what you're aiming for. You can see where I start turning in, like before you even get to the cones. You can glide like right over here. Like I'll show you in the far chase, like just how cozy I'm getting with this apex there. You don't want to go too much more than that. You can. You will get dinged if you're the 50%. So I had like almost half a car. You could cut this off. This is food for thought. This is pretty friendly here. And if you get it right, you're basically going to be kind of breaking into that turn. And the car's going to rotate in a little bit, and then you can just coast as you get through. Like I'm pretty much past it, and then I'm like right here, I'm already turning back to the right. You can abuse this portion. I'll show the cockpit view. You can abuse this portion of the curb too. If you cut over enough, you'll kind of get like a little, like the rear end might get a little loose on you. It will hold it. Just don't go crazy with the throttle. You see how I get to down to like 60% here? And again, as you're exiting, be cautious with the throttle. You can use this curb on the exit if you have to. Just if you go too ham, you will go too far left. Again, here we're getting to the end of the GP track into the Nordschleife. Try to get out to the right. And this is what plow. You actually did pretty well once I corrected you on this. You see this curb here. You don't actually. I'm gonna get rid of this. There we go. You see this curb here, and you're like, "That's an apex." Well, yeah, it is, but it's really not the one you're looking for. I'm actually kind of aiming more for this portion of it than this portion. So like, I don't care here, but this is where I really want to be up against, and you can see you can even get up on the curb there a little bit too, and it's not too bad. Just be careful. Second gear, like through this corner. Second. Just go all the way, and then I'm gonna come out to the right here, brake a little bit, and second gear all the way through here, and then you get up to third. This corner here, this is what I was trying to tell you, plow. I checked up a little bit because I didn't get a good angle. What I'm gonna say is you can take this. I came in too shallow. You really want to be out to the left here, like almost. You want to be out to the way here, like almost to this graffiti going across, and kind of be patient with the throttle. You can get this in fourth gear flat out, and if you get the angle right, you'll wash out to like the section of the brick. Again, like it's a tricky corner. Like I would rather have you guys check up if you feel more comfortable. Coming through here, you're gonna feel like a couple bumps here. So like basically like the graffiti here, and you're gonna feel the bumps. It's gonna give you a little bit more grip going into it because it's an uphill, so you can see I let up on the brakes. And then I kind of give it more pressure afterwards. So it's brake, let up, braking, but you got to be careful because you're going back downhill. Then I get it in the third, and I just kind of let ease onto the throttle. I like to pick up the curb there. You don't have to, but it just, for me, it's more consistent. I pick up this curb too in second. Just be careful, it upsets the car, so you got to go a little easy on the throttle. Again, when you're exiting this corner, if you get the angle right, like you can use this little segment of curb right there, and you might catch a little bit on the exit if you get the angle and speed right. But that's like, mega nerd. It's a long straight. It helps a little bit, but it is what it is. And the most important thing I stress about this is just keep the car safe. I'm just really doing this to give you guys an idea. All right, uphill onto the right-hander. Okay, so I come down to like about, where do I turn in? I turn in like right after this path. That's where I start my turn in. You can see I let off the throttle down to like 20%. You'll notice the angle on the car. Like I'm going at that curb pretty good. There's a little dip here. It grabs your tire and it pulls your car out to the right. It's okay. At that point, like I'm full throttle. Bang, let's go. If you get that angle right, like it should be through full throttle all the way out. You can get the 6 like right, sometimes even before the hill here. And like if you don't, like you guys will probably be shifting at, like I shift in the 6 up here. If you guys don't get that corner right, you probably be shifting in the 6 like here, and that's like a good 10 car lengths. So that corner there is very important to get. And I'm just gonna go back to it so you guys. This corner can take like an entire like 1 to 2 seconds off your lap time. I'm at the top of the hill, staying left. See the path. That's where I start to turn in, and that's where I start to throttle left. I'm down to 20%. I feel the apex, and then I'm just out, full throttle. This is another tricky one. So you can see how far out I am, like, and just about the sign is where you're gonna start turning in. This little white line here, obviously it's track design, but it also coincidentally gives you an idea of where the turn is, and that's kind of what I'm aiming for, to be honest. So I'm completely off the gas as I get past the sign. Just lift. Let the car coast in. The car's going to get a little unsettled. The front end's going to lift off. It's going to want to drift outside. And as you crest the hill and the car comes back down and the suspension settles, it's gonna link up again. You can almost see that up bump, and then I'm back on the gas. And the car tires should be linking up again, and you'll get the grip to come around. If you don't get it right, like look at that where that curb is. That's like directly under my wheel. You don't have to be that crazy with it, but basically the gist of it is you want to be out wide, lifting, waiting for the crest of the hill before you get back on it, and you'll feel the tires hook up in the wheel. You'll feel like, oh, I can turn to the left again. It'll get light, the wheel will feel light underhand, and then when the tires connect again, you'll feel that you can get more grip into the left. If you're out too wide, just throttle lift. The car will grip up again, and if you're not throttling out, you'll be able to just guide the car back into the left-hand side to set up for the next corner. I braked there a lot earlier than I thought I did. But basically, you're kind of aiming for this little section of tarmac where the color changes. Yeah, so like when I say I brake after that, that's like when I'm really braking. If you go too hard, like you will wash out to the left and get into the sand. So it is really, I would rather see you guys like trying to aim here to brake and slowing down for this corner than I would you guys trying to go for the, you know, what you're supposed to be aiming for. And really ideally, if you were good, maybe like a little beyond, because this corner will punish you if you go in too hot. And again, this is another late one that you're going to want to set up for on the left. And it's going to tell you, your brain's going to be like, go at it, but you wait later, and then it'll give you a better line coming out. You can wash out to this curb, and then you're pretty much just flat. Just try to keep these nice and straight. Not a lot of movement there, no dramas. So this corner approaching here, plow, this isn't something that I told you was really keen on working with, because this is a dangerous corner, as you know. But you'll see my line is fucking ridiculous through here. Out to the left onto the curb. I'm currently in 6th gear right now, holding 6th gear. I'm aiming here. That's what I'm looking for. And even that, like, I touch this inside, like, that's pretty mild. Like, ideally, if I'm in a race, like, I'm hitting the tires on this section, the car will jump. Oop. And then as soon as I feel that I get the car after the jump, like I'm brake, and you want to keep your car braking hard. Like I'm almost full brake pressure, and I'm holding the wheel very straight as I'm really braking, because that's how you're going to maximize your stopping power. So you can brake very straight, and then I'm letting off the brakes, and I'm really not even throwing it through this corner. I think I get down to like, I go from 6th down to 4th, and then as I'm coming through the uphill, I'm back in the 3rd. And just be patient. Don't rush this corner. Just get the car slowed, get it in the 3rd, because it'll throw you out to the left if you go too hard. And then here I am. I took this a little shallow too. I'm using this lap as an example, and I'm doing the things that like I was yelling at plow not to do. Ideally, you want to try to get the car out to the right as possible and hesitate, because you want to get your car like almost on this angle before you start cutting back over. Like, where am I turning back over? So like almost over this little green graffiti part, am I like kicking the wheel back over? That wasn't even, honestly, and I'm showing this as a critique. That corner, I'm probably like 50% on doing it like really good. Nothing too dramatic here coming up. This corner, this left-hander, just check up. Don't try to murder this thing. Like, I'm coasting into it. Let the car have its grip. Just go around it, because if you go too hard, the probabilities of going out in this grass and spinning and hitting up against this wall is like way more guaranteed if you try to throw it through here. You can if you're really good, but like you're just playing with fire with this outside. There is a little bit of brick, but like I would just caution you guys to just stay away from this shit. This is like very consistently like a very bad run killer here. So just check up for this corner. Don't even worry about trying to get it good because you're going right into another corner and you're slowing down. So it's not really an important corner as far as speed's concerned. Down the third through here, I hold it, kind of get over, a little lift. Like these two signs here, I'm back on the brakes. You should be down in the third for this corner. And this is another one, patient. I'm not up against. I'm looking for the second apex here. This, don't even give a shit. Like, just stay wide. And then I'm looking for this. This is what I want. And then I'm in the third. I don't even get this too good because on a good lap, I'll be out on this with the left tires out on this curb. But it's not a big deal because you're going to want to get back over to the right for this entry. You should be able to get this in the fourth if you get the line right. You're going to try to stay out as right as you feel comfortable. You can lift. This is another dip in the apex. It'll grab your tires and pull your car inwards. Just don't go ham on the throttle. You can see that like I'm kind of feathering it just to get the car, you know, situated. And I kind of go slow through here because ideally you want to be coming through this corner out to these little bricks here. And this section really helps you out with like the next three corners. If you can get out to the left here, you can get the car on a better angle. I'm going like on this angle. You can, if you get the car out from the left, you can go more like that instead of like this as I'm doing. But you can see I rode the brake a little bit to slow the car down because this sharpens up even more. But I'm back on the throttle. Once I feel confident, I can get the car around the corner. You can see I brake a little bit because my angle's off and I'm going in too hot. So you want to make sure, like, you want to control your entry speed. And then as you kind of get around here, you can see I start getting back on the throttle. And then if you get the line right, you can pretty much hold it. This is another corner that's very tricky and will spin you out. Way out to the left. You can see where do I brake? There's really no good reference here. Unfortunately, this is just kind of like a feel. So basically you have this sign, you have this sign. I'm kind of like a good 4 or 5 car lengths before this Yokohama, but I'm holding it left. I like to try to get the car up against this section if I can. You see, I do that okay. And then I get it down in the second here. And the reason I like to get it up against that section of the track is because it helps you set up for the next section. You get down in the second. Again, you can barely see this apex. I don't give a shit about this. It's just noise. Ignore it. You're going to want to go more out this way than you are going to go in like this way. Because ideally you want to come out wide and then start to cut it back in. And then you can see the apex there. Like, you're going to try to get the car in as close as you can. And then just caution with the throttle out here. It has a little bit of camber issues. Don't go ham. This corner here, like, I'm in my mind, I'm braking a little bit early. In my mind, I'm like thinking I'm aiming for this path here. But the trick is just you want to brake straight. And then you want to turn in. This is another one, like a late entry. You don't want to go for this apex as hard as you can. And you can see I broke into it. And then as I'm going around the apex, I'm kind of just holding the throttle off and I squeeze it back on. Because if you come in too hot in this corner, you will wash out to this section of track, which is not good because there's a lot of sand here. So if you can keep it in tighter, you can come out wide, but you just got to make sure that you're coming back over to the left and you're not going out too far to the right. The reason you would want to come wider is because it can set you up with a better angle for this, because you want your car kind of flush to this, heading up to this corner, which is a very important corner. Well, actually, not a very important corner. It's just it sets you up for a little bit of a straight, and it can spin you out if you're not careful. A little dab of the brake. I think I'm in third here, like through this segment, pretty sure. I give it a little dash of the brake. You can see I go to about 50%, and then I'm just off. There's like a little hump here. You can kind of feel it. So like as I'm hitting into this hump, I give it the dash, and then I'm bringing the car over, and I'm really not hammering the throttle. Avoid this bump, this curb as much as you can. It'll upset the car, send you out to the left. Also, if you go too hard, you will send the car out to the left and hit this curb, which you don't want to do because then you'll spin out. You can get a little bit, but I'm very comfortable in this car, so if you're not accustomed to it, I would just recommend trying to not hit this as much as you can. And you get a little bit of a straight, and I'm just basically flat out. This left-hander flat out. It'll grab your wheel a little bit. Again, this corner blows too. Somewhere between this warning sign and then the Yokohama sign is where you're going to start braking. Plow, actually, I will commend him. He was very consistent with this corner. The few laps that he did in a row, like this corner, this is a sticking point for me. But you want that wide entry, which Plow is doing very good at. And then there's this apex here on the inside. You do not want to be anywhere near that curb. You want to be as close as you can without touching it. You touch this curb, this is like might kill you. And the reason why this section of corners is so important is because it sets you up for that big long straight. And if you don't get this right, you're gonna lose a lot of time. But basically, you want to be wider, and then bring it in, and then start getting squeezed, easing into the throttle. This uphill section, there's nothing crazy about it. You can flat out all these corners. Your goal is to get it in the fifth gear as early as you can, and just let it ride. Once you get the fifth gear, and you're even if you're revving out, just let it ride. And you're coming up the hill. So this corner's tough. You have to really, I'll show you the outside. Like, I could just about, like, if I was a human being, like, I would be, like, flush up against this wall. This thing would be tickling my butt. That's how close I get. You can see my input. So you're kind of like, I'm already angling the car inwards a little bit, but you can see I'm really not holding the wheel much different until I'm past it. You want to be careful. Once you get to this point, it's pretty much coast. Watch out for this segment here. It will spin your tire if you get onto the grass. You can see I just barely miss it as I come through. If you touch it a little bit, like, look how, like, that is like millimeters away. It will grab your tire. Fortunately, you're not doing any inputs, no throttle, no brake. If it grabs it, just ride it out, just coast it out. You'll be fine. You do not want to be on the gas touching this. This will spin the car out and you'll hit this wall and die. So I start turning in as I get to the end of the segment. And the car it's another one of those corners that grabs the inside tires. And it'll pull you in a little bit. And then you can see I start getting back on the throttle. This corner really fucks with your mind because you can see it's still turning to the left, but there's some runoff here that you can get kind of cozy with. I didn't really get the best run out here. Depending on how fast and how hard you can commit to this, you can do this in fifth gear fairly comfortably. If you feel like you need to go down to fourth, don't really get on you don't need to touch the brakes. Just let it coast and go down to fourth. Go easy with the throttle, and then the car will catch up again. Again, this corner here, you can take this flat. I actually don't know why I dashed the brakes there, to be honest. That was atypical of me. There's a little bit of segment here. If you can aim for this, it's a little tough to see visually coming over the hill. You can see just hints of it in the cockpit view. It just kind of flashes at you like right at the last seconds, like, hey, I'm here, but it's right next to the white line at the crest. If you ideally you want to get that line and then turn in through here. You can be pretty brave and full throttle through there if you get the line right. But again, it's not that important if you don't, because you're going to be slowing down at the end of this section here. Okay. And then you get, so like you can see there's kind of like a little bump here as I'm coming up to this curb. You can see the curb. There's a little bit of bump, and I'm like on the brakes pretty hard. You know, dropping gears. You want to just make sure you're doing all your braking in like from like here up until here. Get the car really slowed down before you start turning. Plow had a habit of going out wide, which isn't bad. But if you're braking down here, the camber kind of fucks with your car and you will spin. And easy with the throttle on the way out. This is a place where it'll catch you out constantly. You can see my throttle inputs. You know, I don't max out until I get well around the first corner, the first apex. And then you're coming up the carousel. Carousel, I like to aim for this curb as best as I can. There's a little bump here. Kind of like I'm braking like right before there. If you get the angle right, you can slam it, get the car down in the second, and you can slam the car down in, and it's gonna be pretty good. You just don't want to go too hot going into this corner, because if you get, as Plow found out earlier today, if you get on the top, you're going so slow. So this is second gear. I'm just feathering the throttle. This little crest here you can drive over, but you want to be aiming the wheel, you know, straightening your wheel back out and kind of aiming to the right. It's just, if you get the angle wrong and you see how this line is, that's what you're going to follow. If you're going more like the way the concrete's laid out, this will, as this camber starts disappearing, you're going to lose the grip on your outer wheels and you're going to spin and you're going to hit the left-hand wall and die. So if you have to, like you can see, I'm pretty much full throttle here, but I'm straightening out the wheel to compensate for the slide. That might happen. There was a little one. I could hear the tires spinning. That end of that carousel will kill you if you're cutting the wheel too much to the left and you're too happy with the throttle and your angle's wrong. Okay, committing here. Still going. This is flat. Pata did a really good job. I saw him in front of Plow. You get flush up against this. You get flush up against this curb here. Little dash of brake. I don't even really hit it. Like, I just barely touch it. I get it down to third. Plow, this was not one of your best corners, I have to say. Little dash of brake. Even Pato was pretty good. He gave it like a little half-second pulse. You kind of want to approach this more out from the outside here and then turn in late. You don't want to jump all over this here. You want to be hitting the apex more up here. I took that pretty shallow. If you get the angle right, like you can be in third here and get pretty happy on this. You can see I use this corner out here like that, like, and when I was watching Plow for say, like I'm picking on him because I watched his lap today. It's all fresh in my mind. That, like, he was out here and you can see like I'm on the far chase. Like I'm up on the curb. This curb's friendly. It's not going to hurt you. And I'm braking in for the next corner. This is another one just kind of be patient with to get back on the throttle. This corner was another one that, like, you know, these are all the mistakes I used to make. Like Plow would get into this corner. I lift a little bit. Plow, I think, might have been braking a little bit. This is another one. Come out wide. I take that way. I don't take that wide enough. I should be more out here. And, like, I feel like I'm out here. Yeah, easily. Like, my car should be here. And then I go for the late, but I'm not. So that's why I kind of ride the brakes in. This curb, you can get friendly with if your car is straight enough. And then I'm look at where my tires are going, like right over that. But again, my angle was fucked up, and I know this track enough that I'm comfortable with this. But ideally, it should be wider entry, and then I'm turning in too early and I'm braking too late, so I'm all fucked up. But like ideally, you should be like cutting this curb off, and then it helps you to cut off this curb on entry. Go a little easy on the throttle on the exit because you will get up against the curb. This one's another one, like I'm kind of aiming the brake like just before the end of the curb. And I hold the brake up here, and then as I'm kind of like seeing this telephone pole on the outside, you can see that telephone pole. That's kind of like where I'm like looking at, where I'm like, okay, can I get back on the throttle or not? And I do a little bit, and I kind of feather it. You can be very brave with this corner. You can see like I'm full throttle through it almost. And this little bit of track here is there. It works. Just don't get too far wide. Judging by the way you get, like your brains are gonna work, like you're not gonna like you're gonna be more of an issue is like you're gonna be slowing down for this more than you need to, and like you're just naturally gonna favor the right side anyway, which isn't a like it's not an end of the world corner because you're gonna be stopping again anyway. This is another corner, late. You can see the tarmac. This is what I was trying to tell like Coach Plow on doing better. Because you'll see my line. I kind of come in for this apex, but I'm not too cozy with it. You can see all the black rubber. I'm holding it outside, and you can see like you want to be out where all this graffiti is, and then going in for the late apex here. I think on Plow's last lap where like I just let him drive and I shut up, like he did this okay. But again, just not carrying the kind of speed that, you know, I could, but it was the right idea. And that's just a comfortability thing. Ideally you should be trying to aim to get the car like a little bit closer. Like I should have the car like here, but I don't. This is another corner you got to slow down for. Careful on this inside apex. It's a little tough. You can see I clip it a little bit. It unsteadies the car. It makes it a little angry. Just slow down for this, because if you push too hard, you will go out into the grass. And now we're at the famous YouTube corner. I'm braking like just before the end of the curb, and I'm braking pretty heavily. Oh, I guess not. Like 30%, but I'm getting the car geared down and stuff, and that helps with your braking. You can kind of see this graffiti here. In my field of view, I feel like I'm seeing the... Yeah, so like as I come around the corner and I just start seeing this gray path like up against the barrier here. You kind of can't see if I can make this. Yeah, you can kind of see here how the barrier and the path, I start seeing it. That's kind of like when I start seeing that path getting revealed behind that barrier, is when I'm starting to get back on the throttle. The most important part for that corner is that okay, I'm just resetting my camera. The most important part heading into YouTube corner is the reason why people get in trouble with this is because they do not slow down enough on this initial turn. You need to slow down, you need to slow down, you need to slow down, you need to slow down. Get your car slow, get your car around this apex first. Because if you get on the throttle too early and you send it in too hot, you will end up on this curb here. Ideally, yes, you should be aiming for this. This is where you want to be because that means you're carrying enough speed. But if you guys are favoring the inside, slowing the car down more, and you're more to the right, you're not going to run into trouble there. You're going to run into trouble by coming out wide on YouTube corner. So don't even worry about it. Just make sure you're checking up enough speed when you get to this corner here. You want to be slowing down here. Get the car slow. Get around this corner here. And then when you start getting to the sand here, that's when you want to start accelerating out of the corner. Plow struggled to hell like with this one too. In my mind, I'm aiming for this little segment here where there's no graffiti, and I'm turning in like here. And I kind of get cozy with the apex. This is another one that like you just got to be patient. You can't force the car through here. Ideally, you're trying to get the car angled more outside on the right, coming in, and trying to get the car to line up with this on the exit. Do not be afraid of this. Let me caution you. Don't be as scared of this as you think you are. Like, I get a little bit of it. I get it sometimes where my wheels are on the grass. I'm not advocating that you guys do this. What I'm going to say is that you can use this little bit of track here. This kind of grips up good. If you get too far out to the right, you will catch grass and die. So you can clip that curb a little bit. And there is a little bit of grass afterwards. If you do get that angle, you will feel it slip a little bit. But just don't be seeing this curb and thinking like, I got to go out around this way. You can get your wheels up on here. Just go a little easy over the crest. And the car will feel a little unsettled. So just don't necessarily shy away from it. Don't avoid it, but don't shy away from it either, is what I'm saying. Okay, so now we're coming down to the nice big jump here. I'm flat through here, nice and straight. In my mind, when I'm approaching this corner, I am trying to like aim my car to get on the white here. And if you look at my far chase, I miss it by a little bit, not by much. But that's in my mind, like that's kind of where I'm trying to get situated. So you can see I kind of get the little lift, I land brake. Well, I'm almost braking before I land, I feel like. So I feel like what happens in my mind is the front wheels touch down and I brake. And I give it a little dash and I kind of check up a little bit more than I normally do because I feel like I jumped on this corner too early. You kind of want to be a little bit more out to the left. Like this white line is a good guide with the concrete patch here. And I turn a little too shallow, so that's why I check up. We see the little flashing of the brakes to adjust my car. Same thing, like this is like an out, in, out, in. It's like two copies of the same corner almost. Down the fourth. So I'm like, I'm coming outside. I'm going inside, but then I'm going back outside, and then I'm cutting in again. This one's another tricky one that I would probably just advise you guys to just check up a little bit for. If you get the angle right, you can like watch my throttle through this. Jump, I land, brake, off the brakes, and I barely like I give a little throttle lift. You can commit kind of hard because you get this little section here. This will kill you if you go a little too fast and you get out too right. So like I would rather have you guys with this corner here not overcommitting and getting too much of the inside curb here, but if you get experience, this is flat. Just be careful on the inside curb here. It will throw your car up a little extra if you get too much. I think I miss it. I feel like I do. Yeah, I just barely miss it, as you can see. This will throw your front end of your car up. It'll feel like the car shoots out to the right. When you link up, it'll catch back up again, and you cut over to the left again. Plow, I just want you to watch this section. And just, like, watch my wheel inputs. Like, I turn a little bit. Look how, like, little movement I do with my wheel. Like, you were doing one of these through here. I'll show you the cockpit view again. Like, I'm like flat here. Like, my car is basically not even touching. You can get cozy with this curb here. And then this one. And then they give you that little run out there. So you can take that section a lot more straighter than you think you feel like you need to. Is just what I'm gonna say. This corner makes you feel like you want to brake earlier than you need to. Even I brake a little bit early, but I kind of do like a little bit of braking, like well out here. And then by the time I get to like the beginning of the curve, I'm almost off the brakes. And then I'm just feeding the car in because I want my car to be up against, by the end of the section, I want my car to be up here, up against this. And then I'm downshifting the fourth, and then I go into third. This is another one. Don't jump all over this apex. Just easy on the throttle. There's more curb in the outside, but if you send it in too hot, you will end up outside here and you will die. Careful with this curb too, because you're ideally you want to stay out to the right and you want to cut back over for the mini carousel. But if you're too far over, it upsets the car and you will spin out and you will die. I like to take this a little on the shorter side. Get up nice and cozy on this curb. Second gear. The reason I like that is because if you're out too high, this off camber, when it resolves, it starts going to like an off camber and then it'll grab your car and you'll spin out and you'll die. Again here, like I'm aiming to get my car nice and flush up against this curb. Little dab of the brakes. I get the I'm aiming. I am aiming for the late apex here, like on this backside. And then I'm pretty much on the throttle. Plow did a pretty good job of coming out wide on this one too, which is where you want to be. And then this Plow did a good job on the entry, and then he kind of chickened out. Like my car's still pointed in because I'm nice and flat outside to the left here. And you're like the turns over here, like you really want to get that wheel over to get the car over to the right because this corner is very important. And I'm just kind of modulating the throttle. And then you can get out real nice and flat. So this corner, these two corners are really important to get right because it sets you up for the big straight. Yeah, you can almost see like my thought process as I'm going is I don't get the entry quite right. And then I'm in too much to the right and I get a shallow entry on this here when if I was out more to the left, I would have a much better entry because you can see how far off I am. But like almost like I want to be up here at this point, not out here. And it's pretty much just, you know, flat. You can get up to 6th gear. Don't worry about staying in 5th. It has enough boost. If you are chasing down a Porsche Cup car, which I don't think we'll really see any of in our split, to be honest, they will pants you on this straight. So don't even worry about it. They'll do like they're doing like 170. We're lucky if we're doing like, yeah, I'm doing 162. I might get up to like 167 by the end of the straight, but the P Cup's doing like almost 170 the whole way. These corners, you can do flat. You can see I'm holding it flat inside. Then I come to the late apex. And then I'm starting to brake a little bit. But like you can really see I start hitting my like full brakes as I get to like this graffiti. I'm aiming inwards towards this orange section here. It'll grab your tires and pull the car into the left. I'll just go back and show you that, like my far chase, like how close I am. And I almost feel like I came out a little bit too much, but again, it's the last few corners. I would rather have you guys check up, but you can, at the very least, you guys can easily take these two corners nice and flat. And then I'm braking like as I get past this curb, you can see. I am not worried about you guys sending it through here and worrying about the tire. Just get the car slowed. You can see I'm holding the brakes pretty good. And I'm like way down to second gear, and I'm trying to clip this on the outside before I start turning back in. If you get the car slowed enough, you can get up nice and cozy with that apex, and get cozy with this one, and then you can see, like, I'm through here, I'm full throttle, full throttle, and I'm riding it way out to the wall and cutting back in. So that's pretty much it. I think at this point now, I'm just going to replay the lap and give you the full. I'll do it in the cockpit so it makes a little more sense. And so I'm going to go back to my laps. I'm going to click this lap. Okay. And I'm just going to shut the fuck up and let you guys watch just my full lap. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll show you the 826 lap I do. It's a little slower, but I feel like it was a little better. Yeah, like I got in a little too early. And it pushed me out. I guess I'll give you like a little bit of, what to expect. I mean, you guys have done races before. Just make sure you get your availability in. I think everyone pretty much did. Wolvie put his, I have mine. I'll be posting the schedule later. I'll put a update in the Discord when I get it up. But I think what's gonna happen is I'll probably do like the first stint a bit, and then Wolvie's gonna jump in and kind of Wolvie Pata. And then like maybe in the wee hours of the morning it'll be like me and Wolvie, and then Plow. Yeah, like I said, expect early Saturday morning. And then I know like Wolvie and Pata will be back, and then it'll be like kind of like it'll be like me, Wolvie, and then me and Plow, and then like Pata will come back, I think. And I'll probably end up with like Wolvie being towards the end. And then me again, maybe. We'll see. Because Wolvie and Pata have most of their availability at the beginning and the ends of the race, so like I feel like if I get them in earlier, and then like on the tail end, Wolvie said he didn't really give a shit because he's gonna be up all the time, the whole time anyway. Yeah, you can see like I almost get out a little too far. I checked up a little bit. But that's what you want to do, like check up more than trying to send it through that corner. That actually was a pretty okay corner. I know, Fish, if you're watching this, we'll have a crew chief that'll be able to do all your pit stop stuff, so don't worry about that. You just got to make sure that, you know, the pit limiters, but you'll have people in there that'll keep you on track. Yeah, like that, I checked up a little bit too because I get a little too fast. But you can check up and it'll grip up and you can come back in if you need to. Yeah, I cut a little inside curb there. Hence the 826. But I just wanted to show, you know, how easy it is to mess up. You know, you do this track all the time. I feel like I did some corners better. Like, that was a little better. That still wasn't great, but it was okay. Even the lap that I did that I showcased, like, wasn't the best. But, like, I'm not going to sit around and try to get, like, a perfect lap down. This is just for reference, and I really wanted to just explain like my thought processes and, you know, what you guys need to think about, because some of these, like that corner will kill you. This can be pretty hairy. You know, there's just, I just want to be aware of those corners that will kill you. And the most important thing is at the end of the day, like, just get decent lap times that are comfortable and just keep the car straight. I'm assuming going into our split, like we're going to be in a GT3 only split, so that'll be really good because we won't have to deal with a lot of traffic. And that was my thought process for doing the initial stint, was to get the traffic bullshit out of the way so that like when you guys come in, like you can have just like, it'll just be like hot lapping with occasional car, you know, every couple laps. I don't know what I was doing there. This is after a long session. And for me, like, I wasn't, like, going super ham because I'm doing, you know, mid 820s, and I'm kind of like, I don't feel like I'm going to get much faster safely. It's just more important to be more consistent and just keep the car alive. So that was my 826. So you get the gist of it. I forgot the track cut, but like I didn't. It's not a big deal because I think Paddle, Wolvie, and Plow all know about it. It's just Fish. Essentially, Fish. What the deal is that you can go Let me speed up. No, go back to lap 4. Yeah, lap 4. Okay. So you can skip in the practice session. You can take... Actually, I can go back to, like, one of the earlier laps. I don't think it's going to be on here. That lap. So, what I was talking about, Fish, if you're in a practice session or, like, doing it by yourself, and you're on the combined 24, these cones here, there's a horseshoe that goes right here. You can run around that, and it'll cut out, like, all this section here. It'll cut out this, and then that's where the end of the horseshoe is here, up here. That'll save a bunch of time. And you go through the rest of the GP track. When you get down to the end here, this section here, to the right, if you go around this, and there's another set of cones, you can't really see, but there'll be a second pair of cones there. Why is my mouse not showing up? Oh, there it is. I can't even see it because it's on the white. These cones, there's a second set of cones. If you park your car before there and then you reset the car, it'll put you on the back straight that's like way back here. It'll reset your car here, so you don't have to waste 7 minutes doing an outlap. That's not going to count. But, you know, if you're just practicing the turns just to get comfortable with them, do what you got to do. But this is just a little tidbit, so you're not wasting time on an outlap on the Nordschleife because it's a long ass track. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Just look for the schedule; it'll be up soon. And that's it. All right, man. I'll see you guys. Good luck.